If you are already planning your January reset full of all the ways that you are going to do, act, and be different in 2026, stop and listen so that you don't set yourself up for disappointment. Because baby, for years, I thought that I was doing all of the right things, but in reality, it kept me living the same sad and frustrating year over and over again until I started doing the right things that moved the needle forward and actually helped me to level up my life. For a long time, I thought that part of growth was wiping the slate clean. If something wasn't working, then that meant I needed to scrap it. If I fell off a habit, I told myself, well, I'll start again next week, next month, or next year. And instead of actually growing, I was repeating the same cycle with a new calendar. What finally changed my life wasn't a reset, it was refinement. And once I made that shift, that was when I stopped starting over and started to see real invisible change in my life. Starting over doesn't work. And here's why. Starting over assumes that you have already failed, and it comes from this fear that time is running out. It erases progress and ignores growth that doesn't look perfect or doesn't look the way you thought it should look. In essence, it says that if I did not 100% meet this goal, then it doesn't count. So say, for example, you started decluttering and you plan to get through your whole house by the end of the year, but that didn't happen. You started, you got rid of a few things, and you made a few donation trips, but the holidays came. You found yourself stuck on some layer 3 clutter that you couldn't let go of. And now, because you didn't get done what you wanted to accomplish, you feel like you have to reset that goal. But the problem is, it took watching all of my videos and putting on your best big girl panties to hype yourself up to do it the first time. Or maybe you had a fitness goal and you started out strong. You showed up. You were consistent for a while, but then a few weeks went sideways. You had travel, stress, work things, sickness, exhaustion, all of these things that happened. And suddenly you were telling yourself, that's it. I blew it. I need to reset in the new year. That mindset keeps us stuck in a few different things. First, there's all or nothing thinking, where you mentally believe that if you can't do a thing perfectly, then there's kind of no point in doing it at all. If you miss one workout, then you quit the plan. If one area of your life is messy, then you assume the whole thing is a mess. There's also guilt-based motivation, where you try to shame yourself into change. You have all of this inner dialogue about how far behind you are and all of the things that you've done wrong. And while that may get you moving for a minute, it's not built to keep you going. You also fall into this constant self-abandonment, where every time something throws a wrench in your plan, you drop yourself. You stop believing in your ability to follow through. Over time, the damage that you do to yourself and to your mindset, it compounds, and you find that you never actually get where it is that you were intending to go. It has been such a journey for me to really understand and internalize that growth isn't about being perfect, and it isn't about starting over, but about continuing to stay the course, continuing to show up, continuing to get back up and to fix your crown whenever it tips over a little bit. I have been someone who doesn't fully love the process of getting there, but I'm always having to go through the process of getting there. And one thing about it is that it's not pretty and it's not linear, but it's been by pushing through that's always led to my success. Your ability to keep showing up is what is going to cause you to eventually win. So if the answer isn't starting over, then what do we do instead? This is where a privilege mindset comes in. If you have not seen any of my thoughts on privilege, no, I am not talking about some superiority complex that causes good and kind-natured people to feel icky. I am talking about a deep belief that you are worthy, that good things can happen for you, and the way that you show up for yourself is a reflection of that belief. We are ending this year as privileged women who expect good things to happen for them, expect to achieve their goals, know that they are worthy, and act on that belief. And privileged women, they audit, declutter, build, and realign. People with privileged mindsets don't burn down their whole lives just because one area needs adjusting. And that's the shift that I want you to make as you step into 2026. Not louder effort or more discipline, but better leadership and stewardship over what you currently have. In a recent video, I talked about ending this year by auditing your life from a place of objectivity, not shame. And so I'm not going to go into that too much over here just because I already unpacked it in that video. So I will link it down below in the description if you want to watch it. This is what we do after the audit and the 3 shifts that we're focusing on as we enter 2026. First up, cut before you add. This is where most people get it backwards because they add before decluttering. New goals, new habits, new routines, all on top of an already overloaded life. That is not the way. Sometimes the most powerful move is letting go, decluttering, all of it. Letting go of the commitments that are no longer right for your life, or the pressure to be who it is that you used to be or who you thought that you would be. Letting go of expectations that made sense at one point, but now they don't anymore. You don't always need a fresh start. You need less weight, less stuff to manage, less mental clutter, less mess in your home, less grudges, less people pleasing, less frustration, just less of all of the things that don't add any actual value to your life. Once you identify and deal with the less that needs to be decluttered, then you build from identity, not motivation. This word, motivation, just works well for the section, but now that we're in it, I'm going to let you know I absolutely hate using this word in this sense because I really do believe that motivation is important. But we interchange motivation with feeling excited, and that's not the same thing. I have already gotten myself on this tangent, so we are just going to take it all the way there because this is the soapbox that I am standing so proud and so tall on. Here's the thing. You may be motivated to go to a job that you hate every single day and get there on time in whatever your work uniform is. Are you excited about it? No, but you are motivated. Why? You need to pay your bills, eat, and whatever else it is that you want to do with your paycheck. You're motivated not to ram your car into someone who cuts you off. Why? Because you don't want to mess up your car and you don't want to go to jail. Motivation is simply the reason that we have for doing or not doing a particular thing. And that why is very important to change. Now let's get back to what we were talking about. Starting over relies on this temporary boost of excitement. Maybe it is a fresh planner, a new routine, that nice clean slate feeling. But when that excitement fades, which it always does, so does the follow through. As privileged women, we do not build our lives on excitement. Excitement is nice. I like it. I love a little exciting moment, but that is not how we build our lives. We build our lives on identity, where we have a strong why behind what we're doing. Identity doesn't ask, do I feel like doing this today? It asks, who am I becoming and what does someone like her do in the moment? When you have a privileged mindset, you say, I'm someone who follows through. I'm someone who lives with intention, even when it's inconvenient. When your identity leads, then your habits naturally follow because your actions aren't driven by how you feel in the moment. Feelings are fleeting. Feelings come and go, but your actions are driven by who you believe you are, who you see yourself to be. That then builds confidence where you're fully grounded in who you are and what you're capable of. When you build from that place, you stop needing these constant resets. You simply continue, just keep moving forward. And you do it on purpose. Refine what already exists. Refinement means that you stop seeing discomfort as a sign to quit, because you recognize that resistance doesn't mean that you chose wrong. Slow progress does not mean failure. Girl, when I tell you that this has been the kick that I needed in the butt so many times, not for all of my goals, but definitely for the ones that have been the most difficult to achieve. When I stopped starting over and I really took a holistic look at what was working and doubled down on that, that was when I started to see the most change. When you refine, you look at what is already there, what's already going well, what's not going well, and you adjust. You keep the habit, but you adjust the timing. Maybe it's a particular routine that worked in one season, but your life looks different now. So like for me, there are whole seasons where I am a 5 a.m. girly. I can do it because it's what I need. And then there are whole seasons when I'm not. But the habit is always to get up early so that I'm not having to rush through my day. And that is saying a lot from a girl who is a reformed, not morning person. All that to say, I'm not going to suddenly force a 5 a.m. wake up every single day just because it's the new year if that's not what I need. You keep the dream, but you release the pressure. With this, you stop demanding that it all happen at once or that it all look a particular way. Or maybe you keep the goal, but you change the pace. You recognize that rushing the outcome was never the point, but being able to get there sustainably was. Again, another example. Many of you have watched me grow what feels like pretty rapidly over this last year on YouTube. My plan and my pacing was for me to hit 100K long before it happened, but those first 2 years, I genuinely was not ready. I was doing it in a way that wasn't sustainable and it wasn't healthy. Now it is. Because of those 2.5 years or whatever of growth before things hit, I'm now actually able to handle the blessing of 150,000+ of you and have this thriving and growing channel. When you have a privileged mindset, you understand that refinement isn't backtracking. It is recognizing that the process is growing you in the best possible way. And because of that, you stop starting over every January or every quarter or whatever the case may be, because you finally trust the process that you're already in. I always think about how, even spiritually, this is what God does with us. He refines us and he doesn't waste anything that we go through. That pruning not only prepares us for the blessings that he has for us, but the ways that what we have been through is going to help other people. And when you understand that, you start treating growth like the privilege it is. Like I said earlier, starting over often comes from this belief that we have failed and from fear that time is running out. But I need you to hear this. Nothing good comes from living your life in fear. Fear makes us rush. It makes us overcorrect. It makes us abandon things that are actually working just because they're not perfect yet. Fear produces a panic response. But when you stop making decisions from this place of fear, you stop burning things down and starting over and questioning every misstep. You also recognize that any failure you encounter is feedback. It lets you know what's working, what's not, and how to adjust moving forward. If you're looking for a little bit of help with this as you step into 2026, make sure to check out my Declutter Your Life 2026 digital planner. It's not something to use to pressure yourself into this brand new version of you, but a space to actually grow and steward the life that you already have. I created the planner so that you can make intentional adjustments in decluttering your whole life so that you can finally move forward with a plan. If that sounds like something that interests you, you can check it out using the QR code on the screen or linked in the description below. Alrighty, my friends, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and share it with someone who needs it. Also, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? I'm gonna need you to jump on that. With that, I love you so much, and I will see you in my next. Mwah. Bye for now.